Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 6 of lesson number 12, sound. Now in the last class we completed with the other part, and today we will be discussing with respect to echo, reverberation, and there are 3-4 topics more, right, that we are going to discuss on. So I want each one of you to revise and know the concept. As I tell you in every part, I don't want any of my student to ratify any of the concept. Okay? Everything you need to you should be as such. Now as we are on to part 6 today, right, you should be as such that if I tell you to write a note on sound, to write some of the features of sound, like when I talk about the frequency, time period and all, and if I tell you to write notes on that, you should be able to write it on your own words. And if any activity has to be explained, you should be able to explain those activities with observation, conclusion and explanation part for that. Okay, so this kind of revision I want from you all, because we are almost going to end up with the lesson in 2 more parts, I guess. Okay, so make sure that whatever you have studied so far in the lesson, okay, you all are revising them properly. And so before I start with this part, that is part 6 of the lesson sound, I want each one of you to revise the notes that you have made starting from part 1. Part 1 had all the basic knowledge and basic information on the lesson sound, right? And then as and when we have started studying the further part, we have you might have made your notes. Whenever I tell you to write the notes, you might have taken it, right? So I want each one of you to please write those, no, revise those notes quickly. I hope every one of you have started revising it. You have to revise each and everything that you have written, okay? Maybe like the activity or the diagram, everything. I hope you all are done revising whatever notes you have taken in your book. Now I'm going to show you the slides one by one. Like we are going to start the like with we started the lesson by discussing about the production of the sound and through this activity. Now without going through the activity, you have to tell me what is going to be the observation and conclusion for this activity. I hope every one of you are revising it. After discussing on production of sound, the next thing that we discussed was propagation of sound. So I want each one of you to please go through it quickly. After, I hope you all are revising it. After studying about propagation of sound, we discussed on propagation of sound through air. So I want each one of you to please go through this slide as well, because over here we have the most important part, that is compression and rarefaction, right? Then we discussed about the vibrating object producing a series of compression and rarefaction, and I hope you all are going through it. See, over here you can see how the compression and rarefaction part is, right? And just before the slide we discussed on what exactly compression and rarefaction is. After this we discussed on that sound needs a medium to travel, right? And that medium can either be a solid, liquid, or a gas, right? So please go through it, everyone. So over here we have the activity as well, and you need to make sure that you know the observation and conclusion for this activity. Okay. Then after this, we discussed on that the sound waves are longitudinal wave, right? So we have two different types of mechanical waves that exist. One is transverse wave and the other one is a longitudinal wave. And both of them are been given over here, right? They have been explained properly. So I want you to please go through the slide and even please go through the activity where you're going to let yourself know about the observation and conclusion for the activity as well. So sorry. After this, we discussed on the characteristics of the sound wave, and I want you all to please go through it. After this, like over here we had many important points like what exactly wave is, what is crest, what is trough, right? And then what is wavelength, what is the SI unit of wavelength. So there are many important questions from this, right? After this, we discussed on like how exactly the density or the pressure graph along with the crest and the trough will look like, right? So I want you all to please go through it quickly. Then we discussed on frequency of sound in detail, and I want each one of you to please go through it quickly. Then after discussing frequency, we discussed on time period of the sound wave in detail, and I want each one of you to please go through it quickly. After time period, we discussed on the amplitude of the sound wave, and I want each one of you to please go through this slide properly, because over here we have two definitions of amplitude which have been given, right? After this amplitude, we discussed on the difference between wavelength and amplitude, and I want each one of you to please go through it. After this, we discussed on the pitch and loudness of the sound. So I want you all to please go through this slide as well, because over here they have mentioned what exactly is like important for the pitch part, right? So pitch always depends upon the frequency. If the frequency will be high, if the frequency will be high, the pitch will be high. Okay. See, I hope you all are going through the figure that has been given as well. Then we discussed about like if the amplitude will be bigger, the sound will be loud, and if the amplitude will be smaller, the sound will be soft, right? So I want each one of you to please go through it quickly. Then we discussed on the speed of the sound, and I want you all to please go through it quickly. Then we discussed about speed of sound in different mediums at 25 degrees Celsius. So please go through this as well, everyone. Then after that, in the last class, we even discussed on the reflection part, right? So please go through this part as well, everyone. Then we will start with echo, reverberation, and there's two more concepts, I guess. After this, like, this is what the activity was all about, right? Now after this, we have echo to discuss, like what is echo. Many a times it happens, like when you say something, okay, what happens, your voice gets repeated again, right? So what is echo? If we shout or clap near a reflecting surface, like a tall building or a mountain, we hear the same sound again, right? We all might have observed it, that we can listen to the same sound again, right? So this sound that we hear, we call that as echo. And why is it so? Why are we able to listen to this sound? Because of the reflection of sound. Now you know what exactly reflection is, right? So it's all because of the reflection of sound that we are able to hear an echo. And to hear an echo clearly, the time interval between the original sound and the echo must be at least zero point 0.1 second. Now if you want to have an echo and if you want to listen to that echo clearly, you need to make sure that the time interval between the original sound and the echo, that should be at least zero point 0.1 second. And since the speed of air the speed of sound in air is 344 meter per second. The distance traveled by sound in zero point 0.1 second will become 3.344 meter per second multiplied by zero point 0.1 second, right? So when you multiply that, you will get the answer as 34.4 meter. And so to hear an echo clearly, the minimum distance of the reflecting surface should be half this distance, that is half of 34.4, which is equal to 17.2. Okay, so what is an echo? The reflecting sound that we hear. Okay, we call that sound as echo, and to hear that, the time interval between the original sound and the echo must be 0 0.1 second. So I want you all to write about echo quickly in your book. Okay, now after echo, the next part that we have is reverberation. Many of you might have heard this term, and for many of you it might be a new term, right? So see, what is reverberation? We know that echo may be heard more than once. And why is it so? Why we can listen to the echo more than once? Because of repeated or multiple reflection of sound. So echo is heard because of reflection of sound, right? But if there is repeated or multiple reflection of sound that is taking place, that leads to like persistence of the sound, and we call that persistence in the sound as reverberation. So it's like the same as echo, it's just that the number of you can say reflections that are taking place is more, and in that case we call that as reverberation. Okay, so in high balls or auditoriums, in big halls or auditoriums, to reduce this reverberation, the roofs and walls are covered by sound absorbing materials. Like you'll see, they will be covered by compressed fiber boards, or there will be rough plasters or draperies, because they want that this reverberation should not occur. So to prevent this reverberation, they have this sound absorbing material which has been applied. Okay, so I even want you all to add on reverberation in your book. I hope you all are writing about echo and reverberation. Now the next thing that we have to study is about the uses of multiple reflection of sound. So where exactly we are using this reverberation? So uses of multiple reflection of sound means these are the uses of reverberation. Okay. So multiple reflection of sound has been needed in megaphones, horns, then musical instruments like trumpets, shehnais. They all have been designed to send sound by multiple reflection in a particular direction without spreading them in all directions. Okay, so they are being used in all these musical instruments. Then after this, doctors listen to sounds from human body through a stethoscope, right? How, like, you might, or everyone might have had a checkup from a doctor, right, where he uses a stethoscope to check your heartbeat. He checks the number of beats per minute, right? So sound of the heartbeat reaches the doctor's ears by multiple reflection. So over there, multiple reflection of the sound is again needed. And the third use is, generally the ceilings of cinema halls and auditoriums, they have been curved so that sound after multiple reflection reaches all parts of the hall. Okay, so over here they want that sound after multiple reflection should reach all part of the hall, and for that they have this curved sound board which has been placed behind the stage so that multiple reflection spreads evenly across the hall, because the spreading of this multiple reflection of sound is important in cinema halls and auditorium. Okay, I hope you all are writing this in your book, everyone. After this, uses of multiple reflection, we have range of hearing. So all the sound which has been produced in our environment, they are not audible to us. I hope many of you are aware of this concept. Okay, so see, human beings can hear the sound frequencies between 20 hertz and to 20,000 hertz. It's not 2,000. Okay, it's 20,000 hertz. So like for us, the frequency range is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So if the frequency of the sound ranges between this, then we can say that the sound will be audible to us. Okay, and sound whose frequency is less than 20 hertz, we call that sound as infrasonic sound. So if I ask you what is an infrasonic sound, you need to know sound whose frequency is less than 20 hertz. That sound is called as infrasonic sound. And animals like dogs, elephants, rhinoceros, whales, they produce this and even can hear this infrasonic sound. Now for humans, it's not like, for us it won't be audible, but these animals like dogs, elephants, rhinoceros, they are going to produce this inaudible sounds which is called as infrasonic sound. Even for them it's audible. Okay, then sound whose frequency is more than 20,000 hertz is called ultrasonic sound. So we have two types of sounds over here: infrasonic, which is less than 20 hertz, and ultrasonic, which is more than 20,000 hertz. So animals like dolphins, bats, rats, porpoises, they are all able to like listen to this sound. Okay, they can even produce this ultrasonic sound. And bats, they use reflection of ultrasonic sound waves to detect an obstacle or its prey. Sorry. So whenever bat wants to have its prey, it's going to use this reflection of the ultrasonic wave for that. Okay, so I want you all to please write this in your book. I hope you all have written, you all are writing about the range of hearing. Now the uses of ultrasonic sound, I'm going to start with that in the next part, where we will study about the uses of ultrasonic sound. Then we'll discuss about sonar. Okay, then after discussing about this, we will be discussing on the structure of the human ear. So this is how we are going to like end up with the lesson. So we have three more parts to learn in the lesson. Then we have the summary and 22 exercise questions to discuss, which we will be doing at the end. So I need two more part, one part where we will be discussing all the three leftover concepts, and one part just for the summary and exercise, because there are 22 questions, right? So now I'm going to show you all the questions one by one, and I want each one of you to please go through the question and know the question. Okay? So this is how we will be ending up with the lesson sound. After discussing 22 questions altogether, we will be ending up with the whole lesson. Okay. So I will be continuing with the rest of the part which has been left in this lesson sound. That is, we are left with 3 more parts and then the exercise, right? So we will be discussing that in the next part and we'll be completing with this. Okay. So make sure each one of you revise whatever we study, because that is very important for y'all to know the concepts that we are studying. Okay. So I'll end up with this part over here and please make sure y'all revise everything. So I'll end up with this lesson with this part over here. Thank you everyone.